Peace, love, and light. Welcome to the existence changing experience that is the Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness. I am Pastor Walker, the founder, the teacher, the pastor here, your guide on the road to spiritual excellence and evolution. I'm certainly grateful for the opportunity to come together with those that come with us on Zoom, and for those of you that view these videos after I post them to YouTube. I just humbly ask that if this video or the videos on my channel are a blessing to you, to please like, share, and subscribe. And certainly I'm just grateful for those that share love gifts to help keep this ministry going, this work going, this information flowing. Definitely the likes, the shares, and subscriptions definitely help, especially the sharing, to make others aware. It helps with the algorithm to get my information out to more people. And though for those that do share and those that do I'm certainly grateful for your support. And if you're not sharing it, please share them and show your support and your love, even if you don't be a financial gift, because the point is to get this information out. I know this is not the traditional religious information, but until you come into the realization that religion was created as a construct to keep your spirit bound, to keep you out of your power, it's gonna sound foreign to you. All right, but if you keep listening to this information, if you implement it and apply it to your life, you will break free of that stronghold and discover the true you, the real you, the God you that is inside. I'm grateful for the support of those that watch the inspirational videos. They're still going forth, and I'm grateful for that. And for those of you who don't know, I celebrated 53 years of life. So a couple weeks ago, I wasn't on, and then last week I just had to take a break. But this week we're back and ready to go more than ever before. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and pray us in, and then we're going to just dive in until the lesson topic of the week. And again, I'm not going to promise that this topic is going to be done today. I may just lay the foundation, but bear with me. And I pray that you learn something. Let us pray. Or let us affirm. Creator of all, we give all esteem and honor and glory to you for the life spark. We thank you for the purpose of life, our significance here in this realm, but more especially the rediscovery of who we were and who we are in you. We're grateful for this opportunity to come together and share the information and knowledge that is given. We're grateful for all the doors that are open and ways made, manifestations revealed. We're grateful for all good and perfect gifts that come from above. We humble ourselves and confess that we have no sin. And in the transgression against universal law, divine law, we repent that we may align ourselves and grow and become the beings in this life and the examples that we need to be as we make our ascension. I humble myself and ask that you will think through my mind and speak through my mouth those things which are beneficial for the edification of those listening. I speak these things in the name of the divine, that it may come before the throne of the Most High. So be it. Again, welcome to the existence changing experience. That is the Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness. I miss you guys for the past couple of weeks. I don't know if you missed me or not, but it feels great to be back. And today's lesson topic is a very profound one. It is one that's very needed in these last days, especially if we're going to rewrite the history of our lives. Okay, so I want you to go, those of you that have your Bibles, your laptops, your iPods, your iPads, your iPhones, your Samsungs, and all that other stuff, your books. I want you to go with me to the book of James. Now in the Hebrew, that's Yaakov. In the book of James, the 3rd chapter, and we're going to read verses 1 through 10. Now, the lesson topic of this week is one that if you will receive the knowledge of this and apply this to your life with thought and conscious intent, you will improve your life 1,000%. Okay, the lesson topic for this season of teaching is called Watch Your Mouth. In parentheses, you're hurting yourself. That's watch your mouth, you're hurting yourself. James, the 3rd chapter, verses 1 through 10, and it reads, My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive a greater condemnation. For in many things we offend all. And if any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle his whole body. Behold, we put bits in the horses' mouths, that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. Behold, also ships, which though they be so great, are driven with fierce winds, and yet are they turned about with a very small helm, whithersoever the governor listed. Even so, the tongue is a little member, and boasted great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. And the tongue is a fire. Listen to what it says about the tongue. The tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and set it on fire the course of nature. And it is set on fire of hell. For every kind of beast, of the birds, of serpents, and of all things in the sea is tamed, and have been tamed of mankind. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Therewith we bless God, even the Father, and therewith curse men, which are made in the similitude of God. Out of the mouth proceeded blessing and cursing. Brethren, my brethren, these things ought not to be so. Now, when he opened up, he said that we shall receive greater condemnation. Okay? Says that the tongue is a world of iniquity, that it cannot be tamed. But I beg to differ. It can be. With greater understanding, and knowledge, it can be tamed. If you live a life cognizant of what you're saying, it can be tamed. That's why this lesson topic is watch your mouth. You're hurting yourself. But see, what has happened is, with the language construct that has been created, especially English, the English language, there's a deceptive intent behind it. Okay, because the powers that be have recognized that we have the spark of the Most High in us, and the power. They know that they understand the power of the tongue, to the point that they recognize that if they can make us, okay, afflict ourselves by our words, they can trap us, and they can lay hold on the power that comes from us. They can control us, okay? Because he said that blessings and curses should not come out your mouth together. That's why Yahweh, Jesus said this, that a fountain can't put forth both salt and fresh water. You see what I'm saying? It's going to either have salt water or fresh water. You have to choose. And that's something that has to be mentally worked on consciously every day. Now, he said we offend, if we offend not, right, in word, then we'll be a perfect man. Okay. It says, verse 2, for in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man. And that's what we're on the road to: perfection, wholeness, completeness, matureness. Okay. So what does it mean to offend? The word offend in its verb sense means to cause to feel upset, annoyed, or resentful, to be displeasing, to commit an illegal act. you're an offender. When you commit an offensive or an illegal act, when you annoy people, say words that get people upset and resentful. Now, I know some people get upset at you telling them the truth. That's not where we're at. And it's really not about you offending other people. It's about you offending yourself with your very words, with the words that come out of your mouth, with the words that you accept as, oh, it's okay to say this. Because out of your mouth proceeds, the words out of your mouth proceeds from the thoughts of your heart and of your mind. See, it's one thing for the thought to go into your mind. You can kick that baby out. But once it reaches your heart is the center of manifestation, because your heart is the center of emotion. Okay? Now, when he's talking about words, right? Words is nothing but another scrambled word for sword. When you take the word, the S from sword, and put it on the end of the word words, that's what you get. But it's spelled the same way. You have to understand that even with words scrambled, okay, your subconscious mind interprets them the right way. I know y'all have seen that post on Facebook where it has a whole bunch of numbers and letters mixed in, but you can read the words, you know the words, or they'll put the word, the beginning of the word and the end of the word together and mix the numbers, the letters up in the middle, but you can still read it because the subconscious mind still knows. And that's what you do with words. Words are swords, and swords were used to either destroy and kill or to defend. It depended on the purpose at hand. So a word is a single distinct meaningful element of speech or writing, used with others or sometimes alone to form a sentence. Keep that word sentence in mind. And typically shown with a space on either side when written or printed. Number two, it is a command, a password, or signal. Use, verse 3, verb, to choose and use particular words in order to say or write in parentheses something. Used to express agreement. The text or spoken part of a play, opera, or other performed pieces or a script. We have been manipulated into using words, okay, to express agreement. We have been given words to script our lives, okay, to turn out a way that it should not be because of our speech. Because words are useful or meaningful elements of speech. Now, he used that word bridle. Now, bridle in this noun sense is headgear used to control a horse, consisting of a buckle, straps, to which the bit and the reins are attached. To bring something or someone, to bring something under control, to curb. So we have to learn how to bring our words under control, how to curb our words to keep from hurting ourselves. Now I'm going to get into the explanation of how this happens. I'm just prefacing this with the definitions, okay? Now that word helm, for those of you who don't know what a helm is, as you can see, I got my U.S. Navy veteran hat on, so I know what a helm is. I've operated the helm, okay, and the lee helm. Now, a helm, in the noun sense, a tiller or wheel and any associated equipment for the steering of a ship or boat. In its verb sense, to steer, in parentheses, a boat or ship. It is a small piece of metal. It used to be wood back in the day. Well, it ain't small, but it's smaller than the ship. Okay? But the person that's on the helm that turns the wheel turns the rudders, which controls the movement of the ship. I turn it this way, the ship turning, okay, to the left, to the right, straight, okay? That small helm, look like a steering wheel, okay, and even smaller on today's ships, controls the rudders that turns the ship about. The lee helm sits next to it, which controls the speed of the ship. Okay. Now the tongue, in its noun sense, is the fleshly, muscular organ in the mouth of a mammal, used for tasting, licking, swallowing, and in humans, articulating speech. So it is the small, muscular, fleshly organ to articulate your speech. We must learn how to bridle, how to control this small member, this small muscle organ in our body, in our flesh, okay, to articulate our speech so that our bodies can go, or our lives can go in the proper direction. We must use this organ as a sword of defense and deliverance rather than control and destruction. Now, in the Bible, the tongue refers to the literal organ of speech, but is often used metaphorically to represent speech itself, particularly the spoken word, and the power it holds to bring about good or evil. It can also symbolize a specific language or dialect. The meaning of the Greek word glossa in the New Testament, it can refer to the spiritual gift of speaking in other languages. Okay. So, and when the Bible talks about the tongue, it's talking about this organ that articulates your speech, but mostly metaphorically, speech itself, language, so on and thus forth, depending on the context of what you read. Now, what does the word say about the tongue? Proverbs 18:21 says, death and life are in the power, the ability, the authority of the tongue. And they that love it, that love what? Life or death or life, shall eat the fruit thereof. The powers that be knew this. They know this. And they use different signs, symbols, and words to make us speak death into our lives. But we must learn how to reverse that so that we can speak life into our being. They that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. You have to determine what you love, whether death in your life or life in your life. Okay. Now he said that the tongue is a fire. What does fire do? What is fire? Fire, noun sense, combustion or burning, in which substances combine chemically with oxygen from the air and typically give out bright light, heat, and smoke. A destructive burning of something to stimulate or excite, in parentheses, the imagination or emotion. Check it out. Your tongue, okay, can be utilized to bring light into the life of yourself and someone else. But in the destructive sense, it can be used to destroy your life or the life of someone else. What do you mean? Well, for those that speak curses and tell lies, there are a lot of people's lives have been taken from them and thrown into prison or killed, and they were innocent because someone lied on them. Somebody concocted, they framed them. They used their words to destroy the life of that person, or they would use their words to destroy the credibility of a person. They would create lies and circumstances to make a person look a certain type of way. But those same words can also be used to free a person. That's why they utilize witnesses. Or they can be used to help a person out or to lift a person's life up. It's all according to the motivation behind it. You can stimulate or excite the imagination or emotion of another person. Why? With your words. That's why motivational speakers are so powerful. That's why preachers have so much power that they shouldn't have, because they don't know how to properly utilize it in the lives of people. They manipulate them. And they try to use it under the auspices of righteousness when all is about self-gain, their gain. So they will lie to you and they will keep you in darkness of knowledge so that they can control you. Not only preachers, but you got other people that do that too. But that is the power of words. Watch your mouth. You're hurting yourself. How do we hurt ourselves? Well, it says it proceeds blessings and cursings out of the tongue. So what's a curse? Because we already know what blessings are, even though we're told that blessing means a gift, and so on, et cetera, et cetera. But if you watch that word, bless is B, the letter B, and 4 letters less. These are the constructs, these are the tricks of the enemy to cause you to speak damnation or destruction on your own life. So that word curse, it's a curse in reverse. That's why the Hebrew word barak means blessing or curse. That word curse, noun sense, is a solemn utterance, in parentheses, a formal spoken word intended to invoke supernatural power to inflict harm or punishment on someone or something. Number 2, a coarse or blasphemous word or phrase used to express anger or other strong emotions. Verb sense, to invoke or use a curse against. It is a spoken word to inflict harm or punishment upon yourself or another person. Because without the knowledge of knowing the power of words and how to utilize them, you can speak damnation upon your own life. You can inflict harm on your own life. You can punish yourself. That's why the scripture says, by your words are ye justified, and by your words are ye what? Condemned. It depends on the words that you're using. But for those that would not receive this knowledge and not take into account that your words shape your life, they shape your reality, and they can also be used to harm another, you just continue to frivolously, erroneously, ignorantly use the words and cause destruction. Now, the book of James says this. James 3rd chapter, verse 10. Out of the same mouth proceeded blessing and cursing. That's why he said, you use your mouth for 2 purposes, blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things are not to be so. You should not use your mouth for the destruction of your own self and your others or others. Now, you might be conscious of what you're doing to other people. The problem is you're not conscious of what you're doing to yourself with your words. That's why it says you reap what you sow. Let the husbandman be what? The first partaker of the fruits. Because your words are spoken out of your mouth and your ears hear those words first. Your brain has already put it in your heart. So because it has to come from your heart for you to speak it. So when you speak those words, when you hear it again, it reinforces it and puts it right back in here and subconsciously create what you don't want. That's why you got to be careful on how you use your words. When you're talking to your children, you got to be careful how you speak to your children. Because you can plant a seed that could go into a destructive seed and destroy your life. Because some people don't know how to let stuff go. When people, especially people that they trust and they love, when you speak the wrong thing into their life, when you tell them that they're no good, that they'll never amount to anything, and all this other negative, crazy stuff that you say, it can destroy the life of that child. It can destroy the hope they have of being successful in life. Husbands can do that to wives. Wives can do that to husbands. You can destroy your spouse's life by the words that you say. You destroy your relationship based on the words that you use. When you weaponize words, it is a fire of iniquity. It will burn your world. Now that we got a bit of a background on the definition of the words and all that, let's talk about the trap, because here is where we have to be mindful. Now, how do I get a person to pronounce a curse? How do I do that? I teach them a language. I give them grammar, okay, which is what they've done with us. They taught us a language that was not ours. They gave us what is called grammar. And they did this on purpose, because I'm going to build on the background of grammar and all of this stuff right now. So what is grammar? Grammar, in its noun sense, the whole system and structure of a language. And it's not just the English language. It's in all languages. Okay, this is how slick the powers that they ain't just get this out of happenstance. It's in every language. Okay, it just utilizes the words of that language of the country that the people are speaking. It is a whole system and structure of a language or of languages in general, usually taken as consisting of syntax and morphology. In parentheses, morphology is including inflections. Okay, and sometimes also phonology and semantics. Now, inflections may be certain types of tones, emphasis, such, et cetera, okay? Now, sometimes also in phonology and semantics, okay? In parentheses, grimoire, okay, which is a noun, because this is where the word grammar comes from. Grimoire, all right, is a noun. A book in its noun sense is a book of magic spells and invocations. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you how grimoire and grammar are alike. Grammar comes from the word grammaire, okay, and grimoire, right? They share a common origin in the Latin and Greek words for the letters and writing. The word grammaire in Old French evolving into both grammar and via alteration grimoire. See how that word grammaire turned into grammar and grimoire? Grimoire is a book of spells and invocations. You are using, when you use grammar, or as they say proper grammar, you are invoking spells and invocations on your life. The word grimoire specifically comes from grammaire, all right, Gramaire, which could mean grammar or a book of magic. Later shifted to grimoire under the influence of words like grimace, okay? But know that by using grammar, you're evoking spells. Remember that. Now, in grammar, we're taught to utilize spelling, okay? Spelling, verb, gerund, or present participle. Spelling means to write or name the letters that form a what? Word. In correct sequence, or to be a sign or characteristic of. The English word spelling originates from the older word spell, which can mean a story, tale, or discourse in Old English, and developed into an act of reading letter by letter in the Middle English. The concept of spelling as forming words with letters emerged in the 1660s, derived from the earlier practice of reciting or uttering words. Now, let's break down the word spelling. Spell, verb, The noun spelling is a verbal noun of a verb spell, of the verb spell, meaning of spell over time. In the Old English, 1000 AD, spell meant story, tale, discourse, or news. This is the root of the word's connection to storytelling and narrative. In the Middle English, from the 13th to the 15th century, the meaning shifted to something said aloud, an utterance, or to speak and read aloud. Okay? In the 16th century, the spelling of a magic spell. I'm sorry, let me go back. In the 16th century, the meaning of a magic spell emerged, referring to a specific and ordered recital of words. And in the 15th century, the meaning of to read or write in a word letter by letter become prominent. Now, this 16th century definition is where they began, because you got to remember the earth was reset several times. Civilization has been reset several times. There have been several destructions. Not Noah's flood or Atrahasis' flood was not the first resetting, not the first destruction of civilization. Okay, after the reset in the 16th century, they changed it. Why? Because now we need to control these people, these new people, because we killed a lot of the older, knowledgeable ones. But these children that we're gonna raise, that we either kidnapped or cloned, we're gonna we're gonna put them under spells so that we can control them, so that we can gain off of them. And one of the things that are associated with a spell, okay, is what's called a hex. Now, a hex is a verb which means to cast a spell on or bewitch. In the noun sense, it is a magic spell or a curse. We have been given languages. We have been given words methodically that pronounce spells on our lives, especially, or on the lives of others. We hex ourselves with certain words that we use. That's why we must go back and study the etymology of words, get a better understanding. Now, I appreciate the Nation of Islam, because they will make you go back and study that daggone dictionary and learn those words. Now, they might do that because they say that a man curses because he does not have the intellectual words to express his feelings. I get it. But more so, we need to know that so that we can weaponize our words the right way. At least if you're going to curse somebody, know that you know what you're doing. I don't advocate cursing people, but know what you're doing. And know that when you pronounce that you the husbandman, that must be the first partaker of the fruits. Now, the book of Romans 4, chapter verse 17 says this: as it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations. This was supposed to be said to Abraham by the Creator. Before him, whom ye believe, even God, who quicken or give life to the dead, and call those things which be as though they were. In other words, that speak those things that didn't exist into existence. And when you were made in the image and likeness, because you are, as a spirit being, you possess the power to do what? Call those things which be not as though they were. That's why he told Abram to count the stars and say, so shalt thy seed be. Now, in Matthew 21 and 22, it says this: and all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive it. Why? Because belief gives the emotion to what you're speaking. And when you put emotion on that baby, it will come to pass. You shall receive it, both good and evil. That's why it's harmful for us to get into conflicts and arguments and speak things into existence that we really don't desire to happen, but we desire to happen because we're speaking it. So we have to receive the fruit that we spoke, unless we arrest that thought and cast it down. Because once you put that vibration into the ether, the universe mirrors back to you what you say. And I don't care how you regret what you said after the fact. When you sow a seed, you got to reap the fruit. Then you can burn the crop down and start over. Receive. So we've been taught how to invoke spells and hexes on ourselves using our words. Just like, and then they try to make it cool. And I be wondering where all these ebonic words, where all these words, these slang words come from. Who's starting these slang words? All of a sudden it's a big trend. Just like back in the day when they used to just try to use bad for good. When bad means bad. And good means good. I was watching Glory Road the other day, and the brothers was trying to explain to the white dude the word bad. Now when then they were like, when you with your folks, bad is bad. But when you with us, bad means good. And he was like, well, what is good then? Because not knowing, we have been taught to create a destructive pattern in our lives when we use words without knowledge, without gnosis. And the powers that be know that when you speak, that vibration goes into the universe, it goes into the ether, and the universe creates what you speak. That's why in Matthew he said, whatsoever you ask in prayer, believing, you shall receive it. When you put emotion on that baby, it's going to come back to you, whether good or bad. Watch your mouth, you're hurting yourself. Go back and study the dictionary. Go get the old dictionaries, because they keep rewriting stuff. And again, I said, where did they get all these words from? They started calling young boys YNs, young niggas. You know what I'm saying? And then they got age groups for that. From 12 to like 25, you a young nigga. Then from 25 to 35, you're unk. You're unk. Then from 35 to 50, you're OG. or above, you're OG. And it's like, oh man, it's funny. But somebody's creating these words and they're putting them out and people are grabbing them, okay? Not knowing, just thinking it's cool, and they bringing that stuff. And even preachers are starting to use the languages so that they can connect to the young folks. And you speaking spells of condemnation and destruction into your life and on the lives of others. Take your words more seriously. If you're gonna say it, mean it, but know what you're saying. But stop using words without knowledge. And then when life gives you lemons, you can't make lemonade out of it. You get a sour drink. Now, we know that the ultimate premise was to teach us, was to indoctrinate us into utilizing our words to create constructs of restriction and restraint upon our lives. Okay, and it talks about the tongue being that word, because the tongue helps you to articulate it. It helps to send that vibration forth from your voice. Okay, so physically and scientifically, how can we pronounce these curses? First, the voice. Your voice pronounces sound when the air from your lungs causes your vocal folds in the larynx, your voice box, to vibrate, creating a raw buzz-like tone. This tone then sharpened and amplified by the vocal tract your throat, your mouth, and nasal passages to become the recognizable sound of speech. The pitch and volume of your voice are determined by the tension and speed of the vocal fold vibrations, while the quality of your voice is influenced by the size and shape of a resonating vocal tract. Now, the vibration manifests physically as wave and forces like sound waves or physical tremors by displacing particles from a stable state and causing a periodic motion. In physics, this is seen in everyday phenomena like earthquakes or music, where the rhythmic motion of matter can be felt and observed. Within the context of the law of vibration, it is also conceptualized as an energetic property that influences reality, with thoughts, emotions, and even objects having unique vibrational frequencies that attract similar energies and shapes one's experiences. Just like I said, what you speak and put your vibration you put into the universe is what you get back, baby. So you have to be aware of what you're saying and how you're saying it. I don't care whether you want to accept this knowledge or not. You can't do away with ancient knowledge. You can't forego science. Now, in physics and in material reality, talking about your voice, physical motion, vibration is defined as a periodic back and forth motion of particles in the body or medium. When a system is disturbed, forces restore equilibrium and causes it to vibrate. Now, they have shown this by utilizing sound waves, all right, with sand. And based on the tone and the frequency, that sand will take a particular shape. This shows how vibration and the vibrations that come from you affects matter. That's why they say mind over matter, because what goes into your mind goes into your heart and comes out from your heart. The abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, and it creates an image. It creates a shape. It creates within your reality. Now, an example of this, sound waves as a vibration that travels through a medium like air causes particles to vibrate and create waves that we perceive as sound. Physical tremors. Earthquakes are powerful manifestations of vibrational energy causing the ground to shake and displace particles. Okay? Mechanoreceptors. Our skin contains specialized receptors, in parentheses, Meissner's and Pacinian corpuscles, okay, that are sensitive to vibration, allowing us to feel them physically. That's why when certain vibrations are in the air, your hairs on your arms stand up and all this kind of stuff. You can feel the vibration. That's why they put the bass, because we're going to cover music maybe next. They utilize the music, create a vibration in you to keep you trapped in your root chakra. That bass that you so boom, 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 and you want to hunch and hump and twerk. Yeah, the music was created for that. That vibration that you feel through your mechanoreceptors. But in the metaphysical sense, all of this that we're talking about is called the law of vibration. Okay. Now, the energetic signatures, according to this concept, energetic signatures, everything in the universe, including thoughts, emotions, and physical objects, vibrate at a unique frequency. Like attracts like. The principle states that the similar vibrations attract each other. So whatever vibration you on, or whatever words you're using, you're gonna attract the result of those negative words or that vibration. If it's good, you're gonna attract the good. Whatever vibration you want. That's why they tell you that when you want to manifest, you have to think about what you're trying to manifest, experience the feeling, hold the feeling, so that you can attract it to you. Now, the manifestation of thoughts and feelings. Here we go. Positive manifestation. High frequency thoughts and positive emotions like joy and love are believed to attract similar positive experiences and circumstances into your life. Negative manifestation are chronic negative emotions that are thought to be lower, that are thought to lower your vibration, potentially attracting negative situations and physical ailments. Just like you thinking about your money situation, and you get that little burn in your spirit and in your gut, and you say the word, man, I can't never keep no money. You ain't gonna never keep it because you applied emotion to not keeping money. So you send that into the universe, and the universe says, okay, well, let's create circumstances to help you not keep money. But when you think it in your heart and you get that love and that joy and that excitement and say, man, I attract money. Money is drawn to me. I don't chase it, I attract it. The vibration you send with joy and happiness with that, it's in the universe. Oh, let me send you some opportunities to help you make more money. It's all in your mindset. It's in how you say it. It's how you feel when you say your words. Watch your mouth. You're hurting yourself. Now, in the personal reality, your overall vibration influences your personal reality, creating a complex experience that reflects your inner state. Your words express it verbally and sends the frequency into the atmosphere of what you're feeling. Now, the metaphysical magic of speaking reality into existence stems from the belief that the universe has inherent physical laws and that words, through intention and faith, can tap into these laws to create or manifest desired outcomes. That's why when a person prays and they sincerely believe what they're praying and believe that the Lord is going to give them, that God is going to give them what they're praying and they receive it, it ain't about God. It's about you. That's why it's so hard for people to break away from religion. That's another topic. Although this contradicts the standard scientific understanding and is often associated with New Age teachings or specific faith-based beliefs, physiologically, this concept is supported by the idea of that focused intent through thought and speech influences one's perception and behavior, leading to self-fulfilling prophecy or enhanced likelihood of achieving goals. That's why they say you must see yourself at the next level. You must start to do things to implement yourself or to show that you're on that next level. And then guess what? You will become that next level. That's what they used to tell us in the Navy. You need to be performing at the next pay grade in order to achieve the next pay grade. You will it into being by becoming the next pay grade, even though you had a lesser pay grade. It's with the same with life. Any other level that you want to go to in life, you do so by making yourself operate on that level. You can even do that in an opposite sense. If you start thinking negatively, if you start thinking you're going to lose everything like Job did, you're going to lose it. Okay, we're going to stop right here. Because next week, because I don't want to rush through the metaphysical and religious perspectives of this. The bottom line is you must recognize that we have been indoctrinated and given a language worldwide. It don't have to be just the English language. There is a structure that is in place to cause you to speak, to create your reality according to the words that you have been given. You must go back and define these words that you use so that you can utilize them with greater understanding knowledge, wisdom. You must be cognizant of how you're using your words, what energy that you're feeling when you speak those words. Because at the end of the day, you're influencing your reality. And sometimes your reality can influence someone else's. You can build and create life with your words, or you can destroy life and tear down with your words. It's about you. Watch your mouth. Stop hurting yourself. Be aware of what you're speaking and why you're speaking. Be aware. I know that takes work because sometimes we get in heated discussions and all this stuff, and we don't stop and think, man, I need to be aware, man, I need to be careful of these words I'm using. Because your words can destroy the self-esteem of someone else, or your words can empower someone to be greater than great, especially yourself. This has been the existence changing experience that is the Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness. I am Pastor Walker, and it is my pleasure to give to you the information that is given to me. And I pray and I believe that this word will spark a change in you, a cognitive dissonance. I mean, not cognitive dissonance, I don't want to use that. A cognitive acknowledgement of your words, what you're using and why you're using, what this language is that we have, what grammar is, because there are good spells that can be evoked. Spells are not all evil. You have good spells, but you want to speak good spells. If you're going to create in your reality, make that baby good and stand on it. And I look forward to seeing the results of the fruits of your words in your life. And I expect to see the positive fruits of my words in my life. Let's affirm out. Creator of all, we give all esteem and honor to you. And we thank you for this message on watch your mouth. You're hurting yourself. Help us to be more aware of the words that we use. Higher self, spirit, man. Spirit guides, ancestors. Help us to be aware of the words that we use so we can use them with responsibility and not ignorance. We humble ourselves that even as we depart from this Zoom, but never from the presence of the Creator of all, that the presence of the Creator of all will manifest in us even the more, that we not only benefit ourselves, but our fellow man. We're grateful for positive results and empowerment through our words to begin in our lives, as the husbandman must be first partaker of the fruit, as love begins at home and spreads abroad, and then in the lives of others. We're so grateful. We feel empowered, we feel excited, and we receive the word with grace and favor and gratitude. Let our lives be changed as such. I speak these things in the name of the Creator, that it may come up before the throne of the Most High. So be it. May the Creator bless you and keep you. May he cause his countenance to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he show you his mercy and bid you his peace. Peace, love, and light. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week for the rest of this. Until then, live well and prosper. Spock. Peace, love, and light.